Hello friends, I'm Arpit and I'm here with today's analysis. Today is 11th of October and we're going to deal with three very important topics, out of which two are in news and one is the thematic discussions which we have undertaken, that is SDGs. The first topic which we'll be dealing with is India eliminates trachoma. This is being testified by WHO. Trachoma is a bacterial disease which impacts the eyes. It is treatable, and India has been uh, trying to eliminate this disease since the 1950s 60s. India had adopted a safe strategy, that is SAFE strategy, which is you know uh, very much instrumental in India achieving this particular feat of eliminating trachoma. India has become the third country in this region to achieve this feat, and in the tropics, along with 17 other countries, India has eliminated trachoma. Next is Malabar Exercise 2024. The Malabar Exercise started in the year 1992 between India and USA. Then, for the very first time in 2007, Japan joined hands. Then 2020 onwards, Australia is a regular participant, and now all the four members of Quad participate in this particular exercise, that is India, USA, Japan, and Australia. This exercise is also referred to as Quad exercise, which aims at establishing an open and free Indo-Pacific. Then next is SDG 15, life on land. We've discussed life in the oceans. Now it is the time to discuss life on land in SDG 15. We will be talking about biodiversity conservation or uh, how to tackle land degradation and all in this particular topic. And after that, we'll be dealing with the MCQs of today based on these three topics and discussing the answers to the MCQs of yesterday. Now talking about the first topic, that is India eliminates trachoma along according to the World Health Organization. So on October 8, 2024, WHO officially declared that India has eliminated trachoma as a public health problem. India is now the third country in the Southeast Asia region. Actually, India वैसे is in South Asia, but WHO has made its own geographies. So according to that terminology or that nomenclature used by WHO, India is located in the Southeast Asian region. The certification was presented to Srimati Aradhana Patnaik, Additional Secretary and Mission Director of National Health Mission by Miss Saima Wazid, WHO's Regional Director. Now about trachoma. It is a contagious bacterial infection caused by Chlamydia trachomatis that primarily affects the eyes. So this is the name of this particular bacteria. So we know that trachoma is a bacterial disease which impacts the eyes. Transmission, how it is spread? It spreads through direct contact with the eyes, eyelids, nose, or throat secretions of infected individuals. If untreated, it can lead to irreversible blindness. That is the main concern over here. WHO classifies trachoma as a neglected tropical disease. Neglected tropical disease, those diseases which are prevalent in the tropical regions, specifically in the low and middle income countries. So those diseases are classified as neglected tropical disease, affecting approximately 150 million people globally, with 6 million at the risk of blindness. Risk of blindness happens when it is untreated. Now, stages of trachoma. First stage, in which infection caused by Chlamydia bacterium causes inflammation and thickness in the upper eyelid. This portion, this is the upper eyelid. Here the infection starts. Second is scarring of the eyelid pulls the eyelashes into the eyes. So eyelashes are pulled into the eyes. This is how the swelling and all also happens. Third is eyelashes scratch the cornea and continue to infect and damage the eye, which can lead to blindness. This is how the three stages of trachoma are. Historical context of government initiatives in India. 1950s, 1960s, trachoma was a leading cause of blindness in India. At that time, treatments and all were also not available up to this scale, which is now available. 1963, Government of India launched the National Trachoma Control Program. In subsequent years, trachoma control efforts were incorporated into the National Program for Control of Blindness. 1971, blindness due to trachoma was recorded at 5%. Current estimates show it has reduced to less than 1% due to sustained intervention by the medical experts. So, currently it was, it leading trachoma leading to blindness less than 1% of the cases. But yes, it was there. And now the good news is that trachoma has been eliminated. 2017, India was declared free from infective trachoma, but ongoing surveillance continued until 2024. And finally, in 2024, it has been declared as eliminated from India. Eliminated, however, does not mean that there will not be only even a single case of trachoma in India. There will be, but that will be treatable. New cases, they are very rare now. The SAFE strategy to eliminate trachoma, WHO recommends the SAFE strategy. So S stands for surgery over here. For those suffering from trachomatous trichitis, the blinding stage, they can undergo surgery. Antibiotics, particularly azithromycin, is administered since it is a bacterial disease, so you need antibiotics for that. Facial cleanliness, promoting hygiene practices is one such way to prevent it. Environmental improvement, ensuring access to clean water and sanitation, can further contain the spread and prevent the, I would say, intensity of trachoma as well. Surveillance and certification. So, National Trachoma Trichiasis (TT) survey, it is called as, conducted from 2021 to 2024 in 200 endemic districts as part of WHO's mandate for certification. So, dossier compilation, reports compiled by the NPCB-SIC VI team were submitted to WHO for final evaluation, leading to the declaration of elimination. So, this was basically the procedure. So, apart from India, how many other countries have eliminated trachoma? So, India joins the 17 other countries that have successfully eliminated trachoma as a public health issue. These countries' names are also given in the notes. However, you don't need to memorize it. You only need to understand what trachoma is and what it can lead to, how it is treatable. The SAFE strategy. About WHO, founded in April 7, 1948, celebrated annually as World Health Day. On this particular day, headquarters Geneva, Switzerland. Membership comprises 194 member states, including 150 country offices and 6 regional offices. Objectives of WHO: directing and coordinating international health work, building partnerships with UN agencies and health authorities, supporting governments in strengthening health services, promoting cooperation among scientific and professional groups in health advancements. So, WHO is a body which was or which is still in news a lot, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. UPSC has also asked a question on this specialized agency of the United Nations in, I think, 2020 only. It was quite, expected. How does governance happen in WHO? World Health Assembly is the decision-making body of WHO, meeting annually at the WHO headquarters. And every member country is part of this World Health Assembly. Next is the Malabar Exercise 2024. But if I talk about this exercise started way back in 1992 between India and USA. When in 1998, India conducted its second nuclear test, this exercise was not conducted for 2-3 years. There was a halt because USA imposed sanctions on India. 2002-3, I think it started again. And 2007, for the very first time, Japan participated. And from 2014 onwards, Japan became a regular participant. From 2007 till 2014, Japan was on and off. And 2020, Australia became a regular participant. Some geopolitical experts all across the world credit this particular exercise as the foundation stone of this grouping called as Quad, and that is why they refer to this Malabar exercise as Quad exercise also. Now, this year's edition of Quad exercise is being conducted in the Indian waters. So, Vishakhapatnam, involving naval forces from Australia, Japan, and the United States, are holding this maritime exercise known as Malabar. Background of the exercise: initiation, as I told you, 1992 it started as a bilateral exercise between United States and India. Over the years, it has evolved into including Japan and Australia. So, Japan for the very first time 2007, and from 14 onwards, it is regular. Australia 2020 onwards. This year is the fifth time that 4 nations are participating: 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. The fifth time these 4 nations are participating in this. Objectives of Malabar 24 to 2024: maritime security, strengthening maritime security and cooperation among like-minded nations in the Indo-Pacific region. Operational synergy, enhancing operational synergy and promoting stronger ties among participating navies. Deterring conflict, reinforcing commitments to a free and open Indo-Pacific. Free and open, free from dominance of any country and open for all for trade. That is what the objective is, and this is our Indo-Pacific vision as well. Now, a few days ago, Russia and China conducted that exercise, a massive exercise. And now these four countries, the Quad countries, have conducted this exercise. So definitely through these exercises, geopolitics is also at play. Now, key participants and assets. The US forces, they have brought USS Davy, DDG-105, and Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer. P-8 Poseidon, a maritime patrol aircraft from Commander Task Force 72. Japanese Air Forces, JS Ariake DD-109, a Murasame class destroyer representing the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces. Australian Forces, HMAS Stuart FFH-153, an Anzac class frigate it is. P-8A Poseidon, a maritime patrol aircraft from Royal Australian Air Force. Indian Forces, INS Delhi D-61, the first in-class guided missile destroyer, accompanied by at least 4 other surface combatants and aircrafts. Significance of the exercise: stability in the Indo-Pacific region is the main significance of this exercise, because these four countries are at the heart of, or are circulating or are around the heart of Indo-Pacific, that is that ASEAN region and all. And coincidentally, this is that region where China has, displayed its expansionist tendencies a lot. Routine operations: Australian, Indian, Japanese, and US forces regularly operate together to support regional security and stability. So, this is what the significance of this Malabar exercise is. Now, coming to the last topic, that is SDG 15, life on land. In SDG 14, we already saw life in water. Now, we're about to see life on land. How we are dealing with this. The overview of Goal 15, it aims to protect, restore, and sustainably manage terrestrial ecosystems, combat desertification, since this is increasing due to global warming, halt land degradation, again can be credited to global warming, and stop biodiversity loss. This can also be credited to global warming. It obviously emphasizes the importance of ecosystems for sustaining human life, and terrestrial ecosystems where the humans are living, they need to be sustained. So, a fundamental shift in humanity's relationship with nature is essential. Forest losses are happening, land degradation is happening, species extinction is happening. We need to halt that. 100 million hectares of healthy and productive land was degraded every year from 2015 to 2019. This is concerning. 100 million hectares is a huge number. The world is currently facing the largest species extinction event since the dinosaur age, and they are all there in the terrestrial ecosystems. Protected area coverage of key biodiversity areas has stalled since 2015. So, we need to look into all these things. Goal and targets: 15, 1, ensure conservation and sustainable use of terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems. So they're talking about sustainable use. They're not talking about stopping the use. We need to understand this. Promote sustainable forest management and halt deforestation by 2020. Combat desertification and achieve land degradation neutrality. Land degradation neutrality means the amount of land which is being degraded versus the land which is being regenerated for cultivation, they should be equal. Conserve mountain ecosystems and enhance their benefits by 2030. But mountain ecosystems are massively impacted due to tourism, I would say. Urgently reduce habitat degradation and halt biodiversity loss by 2020. Promote fair sharing of benefits from genetic resources. End poaching and trafficking of protected species protected under the IUCN lists. Prevent the introduction of invasive species and reduce their impact by 2020. Invasive species are those species which are introduced in a particular area from a foreign land, and when they are introduced, they grow over there, so they harm the endemic ecosystem over there. They invade upon the endemic ecosystem. Like for example, eucalyptus trees. They were planted in India by the government of India, and they took, I would say, inspiration from Australia, where eucalyptus trees and all contributed to the biodiversity over there. But here what happened, eucalyptus trees consumed a lot of water and left very less water for the nearby ecosystem, which made the nearby ecosystems dry. So eucalyptus was considered as an invasive species. Prevent, sorry, integrate ecosystem values into national planning and development. So all these should be included in that national planning and development. 15A, mobilize financial resources for biodiversity conservation. 15B, support sustainable forest management and incentivize developing countries. 15C, enhance global support to combat poaching and promote sustainable livelihoods. So all these are the goals. Importance of ecosystems. Obviously, there is economic contribution. Terrestrial ecosystems account for over half of global GDP. If it is destroyed, forest produce is there. Then in the pharmaceutical industry, a lot of resources are used from the terrestrial ecosystem. So it is heavily dependent we are on the terrestrial ecosystem. Biodiversity, forest cover 31% of the earth's surface and host over 80% of terrestrial species. They are over here in the terrestrial ecosystems. Current crisis, world faces a triple crisis of climate change, pollution and biodiversity loss, with 100 million hectares of land degraded annually from 2015 to 2019, impacting 1.3 billion people, which is not a small amount. Challenges, deforestation is a challenge. We are cutting the forests for, you know, economic development, we can say, for urbanization, concretization and all is increasing. Land degradation, 1/5 of Earth's land is degraded, driving species extinction and exacerbating climate change. Biodiversity loss, current rates of biodiversity decline are unprecedented, with 1 million species threatened with extinction. Health implications, zoonotic diseases, they are spread. Like we talked about one zoonotic disease a few days ago, that is Mpox. So increased demand for animal protein and unsustainable farming practices contribute to the rise of zoonotic diseases. The COVID-19 also is an example over here of a zoonotic disease. Economic impact, neglected zoonotic diseases cause around 2 million deaths annually and have resulted in over $100 billion losses in economic terms in the last few decades. Now, actions for sustainability, recycling should be done, sustainable diet should be practiced, responsible tourism should be practiced, community involvement should be there, because this terrestrial ecosystem is for whom? For the communities to thrive, live, survive and prosper. But if we do not take care of these ecosystems, definitely they are going to have their own ways of dealing with us. Now talking about SDG 15 and India. Life on land in India, how it is, what we are doing. So it aims to protect, restore and promote the sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem. So we have to use this terrestrial ecosystem sustainably. We cannot stop using it because, it is contributing to half of our GDP. How can we? So come some key facts about India. 1.1% increase in carbon stock in forest cover. What is carbon stock? We will see. 24.62% geographical area under forest and tree cover. Technically, it should be somewhere around 33% as per the national targets envisaged by the government. 1.5% increase in area under desertification. This is something which is a bad news, not wanted. 16 wildlife crime cases per million hectares of protected area are witnessed in India. 27.7% of the total land area is degraded. Again, it is concerning. Around 1/4 of land is degraded in India. 1.3 million hectares area covered under afforestation schemes. But how effective they are, that is a big question. Now, the key focus areas, if I talk about in India, sustainable management of forests. A lot of people in India do depend upon forests, like the tribals and all. Apart from the tribals, and non-tribals also depend upon forest, like multiple forests produce like timber, or for that matter, edible items like honey and all. they are produced in the forest. So we need to sustainably manage those resources. Combating desertification. See, we saw that in the last slide that 24.77% of land in India is degraded. If degraded land is neglected, then that will turn into desert. So 25% of India's land is at or having a threat of being converted into desert. We need to combat that. Halting and reversing land degradation. Then only we could prevent desertification. Integrating ecosystems and biodiversity. We need to integrate this. And equitable sharing of benefits means those people who are more neglected, they should be having more benefits out of it. Preventing poaching and trafficking. This will lead to reduction in, or this will lead to halting in the reduction in the population of various flora and fauna. And obviously, we need to conserve that, and we need to have less number of species in the threatened list. Now, SDG index in India. There are 7 national level indicators which we will be dealing with have been identified. These indicators reflect progress towards 4 of the 12 targets outlined for 2030. So here in this particular image we can see most of it is green, means most of the states are performing well. They are front runner states. Performer states, they are Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir and Lakshadweep, and aspirant state is Ladakh. So this is a problem, else everything is okay. So currently, some environmental activist from Ladakh, Mr. Wangchuk, is also protesting against this environmental neglect of Ladakh. SDG 15 index score. State scores, index scores range from 54 to 95, UT scores 42 to 99. Top performers Jharkhand and Tripura. A lot of forest cover is here. Dadra and Nagar Haveli in the UTs and Daman and Diu, they are there. Front runners, a total of 27 states and 5 UTs scored between 65 and less than 100. So 27 states, only Rajasthan was left out. 5 UTs, so basically Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and Puducherry were left out. Aspirants, only 1 UT scored less than 50, indicating areas for improvement. So overall it is good, but yes, we need to plug in more on this. So key indicators, forest and tree cover. National target is 33%. The forest cover is total forest area. Tree cover is the tree canopy. Obviously, tree cover will always be less than forest cover. So according to the National Afforestation and Eco Development Board, 33% of area should be under forest and tree cover in India. Total forest cover in India as per Forest Survey of India, which was released in 2021, is 21.71%. And 2.91% is the tree cover, totaling around 25%. So we are still short of this target, that is 33%. States achieving the targets, 14 states have achieved it, which is good news. 5 UTs have met the national target, which is again good news. Highest coverage, Mizoram, 84.53% of forest cover is there. Lakshadweep, 90.33% of its area is under forest. Lowest coverage, Haryana, Punjab and Rajasthan. Tree cover leaders, Chandigarh is the tree cover leader, 13.16% tree cover among UTs. Delhi 9.91%. Delhi is also considered one of the greenest capitals in the world, but one of the most polluted also. This is a paradox. Kerala 7.26%. Sikkim lowest tree cover 0.55%. Sikkim is questionable over here. Area covered under afforestation schemes. Second parameter. Total afforestation area is this much hectares, that is 13,26,963 hectares. They are covered under various afforestation schemes accounting for 0.4% of India's total geographical area. Top states for afforestation, Uttarakhand, followed by Telangana. Top UT, Puducherry. Carbon stock and forest cover, this is the third parameter. Now, what is carbon stock? We need to understand. This is a technical term. Carbon stock measures the amount of carbon captured and stored in forest ecosystems, helping mitigate greenhouse gases. So, you might have heard about carbon sink, and forests are carbon sinks since trees take in carbon dioxide and give oxygen. So, carbon stock is the amount of carbon taken in by the trees or forests in India. Change in carbon stock since 2021. Overall increase 1.11% increase in carbon stock, which is good news. Highest increase is in Telangana, followed by West Bengal. Decrease in carbon stocks, it was observed in 10 states and 5 UTs. It is concerning. Lakshadweep, most significant decrease. Land degradation, current status 2015-16, about 27.77% of total land area was reported as degraded by National Remote Sensing Center. State comparisons, lowest degradation is in Punjab, followed by West Bengal. Highest degradation, Rajasthan, 52.69%. Best performing UT, Chandigarh, only 0.50% of its land is degraded. Rest is fertile. Desertification, increase in desertification 2018-19, approximately 1.5% increase in land area affected by desertification. States with decrease, Rajasthan, reduction in desertification area, Jharkhand 0.30%, Gujarat 0.13%. So this is something which is remarkable. Highest increase, Mizoram 47.14%. UT with the highest increase is Jammu and Kashmir at 6.08%. Sixth parameter, wildlife crime cases. 16 wildlife crime cases per million have been reported in protected areas. States with most cases, Goa, followed by Punjab, Uttarakhand, and then West Bengal. Now, the initiatives taken by the government of India with respect to SDG 15. First is National Afforestation Program. It aims to increase the forest cover in the country. The ultimate target is 33%. We have to take it to. Currently, it is somewhere around 25%. Project Tiger and Project Elephant. It is basically Project Tiger launched in 1971 for increasing the population of tigers, which is successful project. Project Elephant, I think, launched in the 1980s or early 1990s. Again, the same for elephant population. Biodiversity conservation, National Biodiversity Action Plan. This plan outlines strategies for biodiversity conservation and sustainable use. Establishment of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves. These are called as protected areas in which human activities are minimal. This will definitely help in restoring the ecosystem over there. Land degradation and desertification, the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which has 8 sub-goals. It includes measures to address land degradation and desertification such as afforestation and sustainable land management. National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. This is also a sub-mission under National Action Plan on Climate Change. It promotes sustainable agricultural practices that help conserve soil and prevent land degradation. Achha, agricultural land also gets degraded because of excessive use of fertilizers and all. So that needs to be avoided. Sustainable land management should be there. The National Forest Policy provides guidelines for sustainable forest management. National Agriculture Policy, it promotes sustainable agricultural practices, including soil conservation, crop diversification, etc. etc. Promotion of agroforestry and organic farming. This will lead to betterment of the soil health. Community involvement is required because it is the community which is based on this ecosystem, and it is the community which can do something about it for conserving it. And we have multiple examples in front of us where the members of the community have led to, or their shared efforts have led to, the conservation of a degraded area. These programs involve local communities in biodiversity conservation and sustainable land management. Forest rights acts have been given to the people dwelling in those areas. These acts recognize the rights of forest dwelling communities and promotes their involvement in forest conservation. International cooperation, if we talk about participation in international agreements, India is a signatory to several international agreements related to biodiversity conservation and sustainable land management. The other day we talked about conservation of biodiversity COP16, which India is going to be part of. So, meeting is there in this month end. So we will be talking about that, but India has not yet submitted its goals, which India needs to do that. Financial resources, allocation of funds. Government has allocated significant funds for biodiversity conservation and sustainable land management. Private sector involvement. Government has encouraged private sector participation in conservation and sustainable development initiatives, but this is not as of now seen on ground. Private sector, in fact, is contributing in degrading the biodiversity by increasing concretization, construction work, and all, especially in urban areas. Awareness and education, public awareness campaigns should be there, or government has conducted public awareness campaigns to raise awareness about biodiversity conservation and educational programs. It should be included in the curriculum of the students, how important it is, how we can do it. Then only some things will be happening. Now we enter into the MCQs. The first MCQ, which of the following pathogens cause trachoma? Very simple question. Bacteria, fungus, virus, or protozoa? Second, which of the following are not part of safe strategy for tackling trachoma? Carefully answer this. Sanitation, anti-allergic medicines, surgery, facial cleanliness. Third, consider the following statements with respect to Malabar exercise and mark the correct one. It started as a naval exercise between India and Japan. USA participated in this exercise for the first time in 2007. Australia has been a regular participant in this exercise since 2020. Find the correct combination. Fourth, which Indian naval vessel participated in exercise Malabar in 2024? INS Talwar, INS Sindhuveer, INS Vikrant or INS Delhi. Fifth, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The national target for tree and forest cover in India is 33%. This is not first, but this is forest. More than half of UTs have met this target currently. So, which of these options are true? Only one, only two, both one and two, or neither one nor two. Now, MCQs of yesterday, the answers to this. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Rivers in eastern part of India are having less average flow of water than and that in the western part are having above average flow of water. So we saw a map in which the eastern part was yellow and eastern part was yellow and western part was blue. So blue was denoting above average flow of water, yellow was denoting lower than the average flow of water. So this statement is true. SDG 5 aims at equitable access to water and sanitation. It is actually SDG 6 which aims at this. So we are covering this thematic discussions also. So only one is going to be the correct answer for this particular question. Second, consider the following statements with respect to World Meteorological Organization and mark the correct one. It is a specialized agency under United Nations. This is true. The UN Secretary General is the de facto head of WMO. No, this is not true. We have a separate head of WMO. Secretary General of United Nations is Antonio Guterres, and Antonio Guterres does not head WMO. We have a separate name which we discussed yesterday in the class. So this statement is wrong. This statement is right. Again, A is the correct answer. Which of the following can be considered as the objective of PM Nikshay Poshan program? First option, better nutritional outcome for the notified TB patients. Yes, 1,000 rupees are given so that those persons can consume better nutrition. Reducing out of pocket expenditure. Yes. Better treatment outcome. Yes. So all of the above is the correct answer for this. Fourth question, which of the following pathogen causes tuberculosis? If I don't discuss the answer also, that will do. But yes, bacteria is the pathogen which causes tuberculosis. And the fifth question, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First, black carbon is caused due to incomplete combustion of wood and fossil fuel. Yes, this is true. Black carbon warms the atmosphere by effectively absorbing light. Yes, black is a good absorber of light. So both the statements are correct and C is the correct answer for this. Now with this, we come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Not repeating it today. Namaste. Jai Hind.